to Diz and Hers, the show about what's happening in the Disney community from his, hers, and your perspective. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Eric. This week on Diz and Hers, Disney is about to go big, like really big, on Villains Land. There's a rumor buzzing right now about budget being secondary, and we're going to see what those Imagineers are going to be working on. We'll also break down what's actually happening, plus why Monsters, Inc. just got a last-minute reprieve at California Adventure, and what that means for the Avatar land or attraction, and why fans are suddenly debating whether Animal Kingdom is worth a full day. And yes, we're also talking about those AI-generated meet and greets taking over your Facebook feed. So let's get into it. So, Lauren, let's talk about what basically was taking over my internet feed, and that is all the talk about Villains Land. What do you know about this so far? Did you see it?
Yeah, so a rumor hit the internet that the initial plans for Villains Land at Magic Kingdom may have been scrapped, but not in the sense of a cost-saving measure, more in the sense of, no, go bigger, go bolder ideas. And thinking Josh is probably, this will be the first land coming under his tenure. So I guess the rumor is that Imagineers said that, like, go back and budget's not an option and see what we can do. So where did this rumor come from? Do you know?
Yeah. No, I saw it bright and early on the morning on Twitter. It just happened earlier last week, and it was shared by Judy Winslow on X, but it was a screenshot, and I saw a very familiar face and a very familiar name.
I know that guy.
Yeah. So, and it said Len Testa is a premium member, and it was posted, and this is what the screenshot said. Now, Judy says, big news if true, hashtag WDW, and it says, I'm hearing the initial plans for Villains Land has been scrapped. Imagineers have been told to think bigger, bolder ideas, budget secondary. Not sure if this is new players, new game, meaning Josh is the CEO. So that is the exact verbatim message that was on what we found out was WDW's Magic's forum. And that was our friend Len Testa.
I think that's like pretty big news to be shared on like a random forum. But like, what is WDW Magic Forum?
Well, it's a website. So if you listen to Disney Dish, Len, maybe, I don't know if he's friends with them or acquaintances or not, but he does reference it a lot. And I think that he is on the forums. And what I can tell is Len likes to jump on and comment. I see him on Touring Plans forums all the time. He answers the Patreon. He's very active, a good contributor and good community member. So I saw this first thing and it was like early and it already had like 68,000 views. So I shared, I sent a text or an email to Jim and Len saying, hey, Len, I know you're not on X anymore, but just want to let you know that something you said is getting picked up right now. And sure enough, it did get picked up. But to go back to answer your question on the forum. So that is for those in the Disney community, there are several forums out there. I think Touring Plans has a really wonderful forum. Everybody kind of knows of the Diz. I think that was one of the first ones. But WDW Magic has a forum. And this website has been around for a while. So I was just checking to see how popular it is, how many people are going to see this individual comment from Len and then pick it up. But it looks like they get about 100,000 visitors organically from Google each month. So that's pretty darn good.
So not a random forum. That is a giant forum.
Yeah. I mean, they're just below Touring Plans and they're just below the Disney Tourist blog in terms of traffic as you scale it together. So they get a decent amount of traffic, but this story broke and it wasn't very, maybe an hour later, that's when all of the other blogs started. I saw blogmickey.com basically take Len's verbatim talk. I mean, everybody's using the word scrapped. Like everybody is using that term and going for it. And they posted. And then from there, it's just lots of retweets, and it's Judy Winslow getting all the love here because Len isn't on X anymore. He's on Blue Sky, he's on Instagram. He might have an account, but he's not actively, at least from what I can tell, using it. Did you see some of the comments that were coming through and retweets?
Yeah, so there was Tommy Hawkins that said, I had heard from a few places that essentially this land would just be the coaster and one other thing. I remain cynical on Damara, but open to the possibility he wanted to do what Comcast has been doing for years and sees the value in building way more the Disney way. I hope the Disney way in air quotes is like the Eisner way, because I do think a lot of things have been really hyped up, and then they've not been what was teased to us, the consumer, aka Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think this is the first time I think you ever heard it the other way. How many times have we heard, well, they're going to go a little smaller? I mean, that was like the entire Epcot build, right?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you got all this stuff. We're going to get Mary Poppins. We're going to get this, that, somewhere. And then they're like, yeah, maybe we're not going to do that. So this is like the reverse. So it's got us, and it's the first time I think I've ever heard like, hey, this isn't good enough, make it better. So there was another Braden from Mickey Views. He was on
I
Twitter.
love Braden.
So he says, while it's possible Len Testa knows a second instance of this, Damara reviewed early plans for Villains Land and told Imagineering to step it up a while ago. He did this with Tropical Americas and Villains over a year ago. I'd be surprised if the plans were scrapped again. So funny thing is, so I listened to the Disney Dish this morning while we're recording, and it just came out. And Len and Jim go into pretty good detail of where this information came from, why it's viable. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily naming sources, but I was thoroughly convinced that Len didn't just go on this post and say, I have a hunch. It's pretty much they have some information that they know. So it's very interesting. Listen to the podcast, and then you'll kind of hear why and what. So I would say the Disney Dish, if you're listening to us, you know the Disney Dish. So, but anything else kind of catch your eye?
And then there was Theme Park Obsession that says, obviously, we must take these things with a grain of salt, but if true, this would be amazing. Yes, give us the quality the fans deserve. The company will get the return in long term, and those returns will be way more sweet because of guest satisfaction. And it sounds like there's some real validity. And I mean, I don't know who said, you always hear about them scaling back the ideas, but wasn't it Bob Iger that like rode Tiana's Bayou Adventure and was like, nope, not good enough. Like, try
Well, he needed to
harder.
ride it a couple more times, I'm thinking. So I don't know
Yeah,
if he
me
ever.
too.
But he was the one that basically had California Adventure 2.0 taken care of,
Yes.
right? The fact is it
Right,
just wasn't up
yes.
to par. So I'm not saying it's never been done. It's just that maybe over the last years we have heard and felt the exact opposite of like, we're not going to put money, but this is a big deal. Like you mentioned earlier, this is Josh's real first land, and they are going against a Comcast that's been putting a lot of money and getting these lands that are more immersive and making a big deal. And I think that if you're going to put time and energy in, we saw what happened with Galaxy's Edge. I don't know if we want that happening again, because there's lots of time and money that's put into that. And how, are you going to be able to put more time and money to fix it, so to speak, and make it better? We'll see. So
I mean, it also, like, if you listen to the other shows, I know that on I Want That Too, and even on the show, we've talked about, like, where Josh's head is at. And they're saying that, they're going to lean heavily into experiences and tying the IP and the merch to these, like, live in person experiences, because that's something that's not going to be impacted by AI. Like, people are still going to be going to the theme parks, and I'm sure that they don't want to be shown up by Epic, right?
No. And I think there's a lot of comparisons to like the Frankenstein experiment, because it's a gothic thing that the Villains is going to go kind of place that. I don't necessarily think that we're going to get ourselves a very super scary land. I'm sure it'll be more
No, I don't think
intimidating
so.
than others, but it's just by circumstance that we're going to get a villain land that is a little darker. And yes, there was a dark land over at Epic. I'm sure that they were not paying any attention. If there was another IP that was as impressive as the Villains, they would be building upon that. But that is what we have. That's what we know. It'll be something that we got to keep
Word
our
on the
eye
street.
on. Yeah, keep an eye on. And it was fun to kind of see Len's face, and he's got this profile picture from eons ago of him kind of, there's a full grown adult dressed as Buzz Lightyear behind him, and it's a classic profile picture, and I saw that immediately. I'm like, I know that guy. So super funny. But we want to know from you guys, what do you want to see in Villains Land? Let us know in the comments. But that's not the only thing that we heard that is up in the air. Lauren, did you hear about the story over at California Adventure?
Yes, yes, and it actually I was just thinking about it yesterday because I was watching a video from the Disney food blog about things coming and being impacted in 2026 at Disneyland because we're heading there next week. But again, we're talking about Disneyland has delayed the planned closure of Monsters Inc. Mike and Solly to the rescue. We've been talking about this for quite some time over in Disney California Adventure and to make way for these major park expansions that are on the horizon. So when we were originally told that Mike and Solly was going to close, they were just saying at the beginning of 2026, and it was making room for the Avatar themed ride. And now we're hearing that it could remain open through the end of this year and maybe close in 2027 instead. So what do you think's causing this?
Well, I think there's a couple different theories. I think the fans who weren't necessarily happy about getting Avatar as an IP in that land, it does seem kind of weird, the placement, where this would go and how they would make it happen. I think a lot of people are like, yay, maybe they're scrapping, once again, using our word of the day, the land and or the themed ride for Avatar, and maybe we'll get something else. So I think there's a camp that is excited about that. And then the other camp is no, it's this logistics. Like if you look at the park logistics, they need this to stay open because maybe other things are running long or there's not. So one circumstances, this is definitely one of the attractions that is very family friendly. Everybody can get on, kids will absolutely love it. And shutting that down without a replacement could mean, hey, there's aspects in this park that are maybe a little bit more thrill ride based, and the kids might not have as much to do. So I've heard that. I actually pulled up on Instagram, the Park Trend News asked this very question. Basically, they said it's a rumor Disney might cancel the upcoming Avatar Land expansion plan. I don't know if that was necessarily the case or what they said, but they wanted to get, as soon as they mentioned this, I grabbed some screenshots of what people were saying. And Ears from Wonderland, that would be amazing. Avatar makes no sense in the park. DCA needs to continue expanding Pixar like they have been beautifully. And then there's another one, L. Pincher Richie, 45. I've never heard anyone say, let's watch Avatar tonight. Kids don't even like those movies. And then we have Anna K. Smith Photography. Ugh, I really want Avatar. So, there's two sides of this. Lauren, what's your thoughts on all this? Do you think that Avatar as the theme, is this a first step of this being canceled because maybe the movie wasn't as astronomically financial successful as the first or the second one?
No,
Or
I mean it was breaking records, and I mean even last week it was still trending on TikTok. So I mean there is validity to having that land, but having that land there, leaning into the the kid-friendly attractions at that theme park. I get what they're saying because Mike and Sully is that normal, dark ride that Disneyland is known for, and you do have some of the stuff on Pixar Pier. But you'd think, okay, if we're leaning into the movies, Avatar makes sense back there. But if you're trying to have more things that appeal to small children, especially because Disneyland has put such an emphasis on trying to attract families with young children. I mean, didn't they just have that $50 ticket push that they brought back? They're bringing Bluey into Disneyland. They're doing a special Disney Junior, one day in Disneyland, 3 days in California Adventure. Clearly they're trying to attract families with kids. What do you think?
Oh, I think that if you look at it, so we've been to Pandora, the world of Avatar at Animal Kingdom, umpteen times, lots of times, and we've gone from the time it opened and witnessed it within probably the first couple months, and it is an immersive land. It is amazing. It is a huge, huge. It's not small. I don't know how they would be able to do that and not have it be seen by everywhere in Disneyland. So like this has to be on a smaller scale, and I don't know if it will be nearly as impressive on a smaller scale. So it would have to be super expensive. It's not like they're just going to retheme Mike and Sully's. They're going to have to really make it look like Pandora, and I think that could be maybe second guessing. Saying, well, we didn't announce this, but maybe we don't want to put so much money in there. And I don't know. That's my thought. But the funny thing is, yes,
Maybe
I
the
don't know
money's
too.
going to Villains Land.
Right, right. I don't know too many people that naturally love Avatar the movies. It seems like a lot of people have seen these and witnessed those and probably like them and maybe did not dislike them. But I don't know too many super advocates like this is the greatest thing ever. And so I could see where there's a lot of people like that. But from a themed land, let's take the IP out of it. From a themed land, Lauren, do you have any idea how popular the attractions in the land at Animal Kingdom they are, how popular they are?
To me, it seems like people really like it, but I mean, what's it competing with at Animal Kingdom?
No, Lauren, you're right, because right now Animal Kingdom's having a little hard time, but I do think that all the attractions are liked by everybody there. So if you build an attraction at California Adventure for Pandora, I think it'll do well. It just seems kind of out of place, and I think other people would rather put something else there. So I think this is a matter of, I think we'll be excited for if it shows up and it'll be fine. But right now, if we had everybody out there is like, what should we rather pick? I'm sure somebody would say, I'd rather have a Zootopia ride, or rather have something else from this attraction or this IP. So I think that's
Frozen, World of Frozen, please.
yeah.
If you're
See,
listening.
right. So there's always somebody. So I think Avatar's low on that list, but if they build something there, it'll do well. But I think that's important for us. We want to know what you guys would like to see. Do you think that they're going to cancel this ride and do something else? Or is this just strategically saying, all right, it's we just need to move things back because we got to keep things open for the kids. So let us know. But since we were just talking about Pandora attractions, after this break, we talk more about why people are a little shaken up about the attractions in the Animal Kingdom or the lack thereof. But we'll talk about that right here after this break.
And we're back. All right, Eric. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there's been some significant rumblings online about the number of attractions at the different parks at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I have noticed. In fact, grabbing some screenshots from several of the commentators, and basically, I think it's worth a discussion for you and I. So let me throw this one up here. Twitter user Liz Morgan. I grabbed this a couple weeks ago and figured we'd talk about it. It says, "Here's an updated list of how many rides there are in each of the Disney World parks." And we have Hollywood Studios with 9, Animal Kingdom with 6, Epcot with 11, and Magic Kingdom with 26. Lauren, what's your initial thoughts there?
Oh my gosh, I've never looked at it like that. Wow.
Yeah, so we were just talking about Pandora, and we were just talking about Animal Kingdom, and I mean, it's tough because, Lauren, I think we're paying the same amount for all these, right? I mean, the tickets are all pretty much, you can go to Magic Kingdom with 26 attractions or go to Animal Kingdom with 6, and it's the same amount, right?
Yeah. So, actually, I do have some knowledge on this because yesterday, we decided we were going to postpone our Paris trip and we're going back to Disney World because we are just have the itch over the summer. So I was just looking at tickets, and there was a deal that I noticed for Disney Plus members, and it was like a 3-park 3-day deal that excluded Magic Kingdom, and it worked out to be like $108 a day per park. And I was like, well, that's weird that they excluded Magic Kingdom, but they're probably just trying to move people around the way that they do. So took it a step further, and I'm like, all right, spring break is coming up. Like, how much does it even cost? Like, are all of the parks the same price? And they're actually not. And I had remembered, like, and we've always kind of had annual pass or park hopper or whatever. So I just selected a random day of spring break, March 9th, which is a Monday. And on the calendar, it says tickets are 179 plus. And then for that day, the Magic Kingdom is 199, Epcot is 184, Hollywood Studios is 194, and Animal Kingdom is 179. So not enough difference in price to me to justify the amount of experiences at each park. But what do
Right.
you think?
Well, I mean, I think it comes down to the argument of what can you do? And the attractions are not the only things you can do. Now, granted, we're talking like physical rides or shows
Yeah,
versus
ride shows,
exploratory,
attractions, yeah.
Yeah, are we counting Gorilla Falls as an attraction? Probably not. I mean, is it something you can do? Absolutely. So it's different. And I know how we can argue both ways, but I do think that, this did pick up. This isn't the first time I saw this problem that's scraping up. And so I picked up another Disney thread. It's from the Disney Tourist blog, and they mention it says, after years of projects moving at a snail's pace, the Walt Disney World fans have legitimate skepticism about construction speed. But the Tropical Americas is flying right now, moving at a universal pace. So, and that has been the criticism is like, how long did it take to build Tron or these other ones? But of course, this statement then had a lot of other people coming out, and Orange Grove 55 says DAC is already low on attraction count. They kind of have to move fast considering the situation with the park overall. And then Sunny Stole Our Dance Moves says DAC closes at noon. They got all the time in the world without those pesky tourists getting in the way. So two valid points, but I think it's really interesting to kind of talk about I don't have park number attendance. I don't have the attendance numbers, but Animal Kingdom's got to be hurting right now, and they really need these attractions to open up because they just shut down Dinosaur and didn't really open up anything in replacement. I know Zootopia Better Together just came out, but that's not necessarily going to replace what Dinosaur was. And we've already seen the impact of like Everest attraction wait time going way up. And I know they're working on it, and I know you just can't do this overnight, but boy, how bad is it going to be this summer or this year for DAC?
I just feel like that whole thing was so short-sighted for Disney. Like, they knew that they were closing down a land to not have this kind of in the works to say, "What are we gonna do about people, not coming here?" Like, so this is my opinion because Eric and I are like, we're not travel agents, but people just know that we love Disney and go all the time. So, like, I get asked by moms all the time. I'm planning my Disney trip. Where should I go? I only have 3 days. Like, that's common. And almost all of them have Animal Kingdom on their list. And like, typically, they don't pick Epcot. And right now, and honestly, it's with kids, they want to do the safari.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so that is the thing that I hear over and over again. And I always encourage them to, if they're going to do that, maybe do a park hopper situation that day and split it with Epcot, because poor Epcot always gets dropped. But now, like, because they don't realize that now there's Ratatouille and Frozen and Moana. Like, there's a lot of things. There are more things to do in Epcot than just going the World Showcase. So I can't recommend people spend $179 per day right now to go to Animal Kingdom. But like, we don't. We haven't for years, and we have annual passes.
Well, you only have so many days that you're on vacation. And for us, for the longest time, it was always, all right, you're going to do Magic Kingdom at least 2 days. We typically try to do Epcot twice. And there's always a
But we
matter of
love
like,
Epcot.
yeah, what are we trying to get accomplished here? And I know we can bounce back and forth because either you have annual passes and we've been a million times. So it's not like we have a bucket list of items that we have to do. But Animal Kingdom, the fact is you're going to go and it's going to shut down early. So like you didn't have to find something else to do. So it's just very crazy, except for like if you have 5-7 days, of course you're going to do one day and maybe that's your swimming day, or maybe you go to Disney Springs later. But it is a very difficult one. And especially now that we have annual passes at Universal, we've completely scrapped. The last 2 years, we might have went to Animal Kingdom once, maybe twice, and for like half days. And I think one of them was just a matter of like, we wanted to see if we could do 4 parks in a day. So I stepped in there, bought an ice cream. I think we did one ride and then took off. So it's just interesting that Animal Kingdom, I think, is going to be struggling. And it's really, really difficult to suggest people to go there unless you have an abundance amount of time. I feel like it's on the verge of becoming like a water park in terms of like, well, yeah, if you want to do that, but I would go to Magic Kingdom another day if I were you. So
Just lean back into, like, I don't know, like, the animals. Like,
Well,
why don't like if
because it costs
like
money.
people want to go like to have more of like a zoo experience, like in their scrapping. I mean, Bluey is going to the what is that back there with the petting zoo, and they're like
I think
actually
he's Planet
taking the
Watch.
animals
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. No, I mean, animals cost money, and we know
Yeah,
that.
I
And
guess
and
the
that
animals cost more money than the like building an attraction.
Man, that's a great question. I would love to see the numbers there to see if upkeep with the animals and the caretakers and the placement and food and all that would how that would compare in the long run against an attraction. I feel like, yeah, that's a great question. I think we should figure that one out. But I'm wondering, what's your thoughts? Do you visit Animal Kingdom? Is it on your scrap list now? That is the question. And by the way, I'm hoping you're drinking a every time I say the word scrap because that is
A
the definite
coffee. We're
magic.
drinking coffee.
We're drinking coffee. We're
Uh
drinking something, right? But all right, final story, Lauren. I know that you haven't necessarily seen this, so I'm going to be breaking the news to you, but I've seen it like crazy on the Facebook groups. Have you seen the fake meet and greets that people are AI generating
I
and
know
throwing
you're
up
just
on
telling me
forums?
about it, but when you originally were talking about it, I was thinking like we've just been talking so much about like character meet and greets showing up at the parks. I actually, when I was watching that video from the Disney food vlog yesterday, I think at one of the after hours, like the mom and dad from the Carousel of Progress were going to be meeting. Like, so there's just a lot of rare
Right.
characters that we're talking about. And like, there's the Disney Channel nights at Disneyland. So I don't know if, people are just saying it's front and center with rare characters, like how this even started. So why don't
Well,
you
that
tell people what it is?
well, that was the thing is I thought I saw some on various Facebook pages that I'm like, holy cow, that is a rare character to come out. What kind of party was that? And then slowly you kind of see some weird aspects of it, and you're like, hold on, that doesn't even look. Oh, it's AI generated. So what is happening for those that are not out there doing AI? There are several different image generation tools. Like popular ones are Midjourney and Dolly have been around probably the longest, but there's so many of them now. And individuals are going on and they're just saying, whatever their prompt is, create a meet and greet with this character at Walt Disney World. And these, AI bots are smart enough to kind of put things together. And you are now seeing these random characters. The one that caught my eye just recently was Ariel and Melody. And I believe Melody is probably one from like the VHS straight to video character. And we have two mermaids. We have sitting there, and then they're both in dresses. And then but the thing is, you have kids and families meeting with them, and it does look as you scroll by, it looks legit.
Like, I literally just like, this is the first time I'm seeing these images, and I was like, "Oh, wow, like, there's a little boy pouting in this picture like a
Yeah.
normal little boy would, and, like, a little girl." Like, I'm like, "Where did they even get these pictures? Are these, like, real people that they're scraping the internet for?"
Great question. I mean, there are some clues. I mean, once you look at them, and then once I knew they existed, I started spotting them. Like there was one with Jungle Jane and Tarzan, but they're meeting right in front of the Tree of Life, and I'm like, well, they're not. That's not where they
Jungle
meet.
Jane's not as good as that.
No. Well, look at the elephant. They got a giant elephant there, and I'm like, so it's like pretty immersive. So you're seeing these happen, and my favorite part is, truthfully, I go to the comments and I immediately see the war that's breaking out, because what's happening is there are very much like, hey, this is innocent fun, we're just creating cool things, and then there's the people that absolutely hate the generative AI for whatever reason, or it's kind of misleading. So I grabbed the latest one. I looked last night and there was one from a Jesse Goodwin, and it says 3 more character meet and greet ideas. And then this is what's great. There's a disclaimer right as there with the, please, no I hate on this. It's getting old at this point. If you have hate AI, please just scroll past this post. Simple as that. Let the other people who love AI enjoy it. And it's just interesting because I will say it is misleading. It is misrepresenting the brand because sometimes the things look ridiculous. Some of the time, Mickey is not looking like our friend Mickey. But it is kind of fun in a way. Like they have one called Gertie, which if you are a Black Cauldron fan, they have a meet and greet with Gertie, which you just can't have. And some Timothy A. Mouse, some weird stuff there. So is this just harmless AI fun, or is it getting out of hand? And you don't want to necessarily see a bunch of this fake stuff on your feed because you think it's real. Or I know for a fact,
To say though, like this is why Disney is trying to put the guardrails up
Right.
with AI because I mean just talking what we talked about on our last episode, like if you think about it, like grandparents are a lot of the people that fund Walt Disney World trips or Disneyland Disney trips. And a lot of times even if this they have the disclaimer on there, going to say, "Oh my gosh, is that whoever I really want to get there while this character is there." And then they show up with their family of 7 and go into the park and they're like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, ma'am. Like, that was AI generated." Like, you think that's gonna help guest satisfaction?
No, that's what I was going to say. How many, I want to know right now, if we have any cast members out there, please let us know if you've got yelled at yet we're trying to meet Timothy A. Mouse in front of Dumbo and he's not available. I saw pictures. I prove it. Like what kind of, what kind of cause and issue we're going to have here. I imagine just like, think at the hotels. Imagine you put Moana at the Polynesian and she's not really meeting there. Like that might be a whole reason somebody would stay. And I know that listen, I was fooled and I am a graphic designer and I work in AI. I know how to do these things. Like I can spot it. And the first time I saw it, I literally thought that there was a new meet and greet open. So if you're just scrolling by, it could be a problem, but is it just fun? Is it just, is it like chill out people? We're just posting on the internet. It's Facebook. Let's not take it so serious. I don't know. You guys
I
tell us.
wonder if eventually that they'll like if it has a brand, if it's referencing brand IP, if it's gonna need to have some kind of, like, watermark or baked in to say that this is AI, and I don't know if, eventually it'll be, regulated, but I'm just thinking about the grandparents here.
That's it. We're just out. We're looking for the grandparents here. That's right. But I
That's
think
it.
that's a good one to think about, and I think that's going to do it for us today. So that is this week's episode of Diz and Hers. But if you want more, you can go over to dizandhers.com. You'll find articles, episodes, updates, and go from there.
Yes, and if Disney's your vibe, make sure you hit subscribe.
And remember, watch what you post. You might end up in next week's episode. Thanks for listening.